So carbon tax will do a lot, but it won't do everything. If we're going to cut emissions by 50% in 12 years, which I hope we are, but I suspect we're not, and then to zero in the 20 years after that, there will be huge changes that governments need to handle. And I'm just wondering, from your experience in terms of accountability, how do you build the structures to deal with accountability for something like that, an economy-wide transition that the world's never seen before? Like, how do you make bets on which programs are going to work and which are not? Because you know for certain some of that money will be wasted. So I'm curious as to how you think that all these things, such as these concepts like value for money, how will they play out over the next 30 years?
Well, I don't know if we'll be around for the full next 30 years. So I can guess.
It might be.
No, maybe.
It might be.
Those health outcomes, if they come up to OECD.
Well, I think just from my own experiences where like I see governments playing a big, like when they're not transparent. Again, or when they're not like really communicating the magnitude of the problem. Like on a lot of stuff, I'll read these documents and I'm saying there's a much better way to communicate the income distribution problem, as an example. And and I think right now we just seem to be at this really difficult juncture where I think because we can almost be thankful for these, not thankful, for these terrible storms that are happening, it's starting to change some people's minds. So it's getting hard for the deniers and naysayers to say, no, it's not greenhouse gas emissions, it's something else. This is just something else that's playing out. And so I think more and more they're gonna turn to the scientists. But I think like the bedrock to this trust has always been just complete transparency and honesty, like to me. I think when I see it really eroded and when I was the county budget officer, it's just like we weren't really being very open with people in terms of how money was being spent, particularly on new ideas. So I think it's like this level of transparency, policy transparency in the case of climate change has to go way up. And that'll bring back some of the trust. And I just think in the reporting, and I think like we can't expect politicians or even public servants like they're meant to get all this stuff right. But I think this educational process of communicating to citizens, this is what it takes to get to reduce the amount of greenhouse gas emissions, and this is the contribution from renewables. And we, as part of this infrastructure symposium we had in Toronto a few weeks ago, we brought in a fellow from the UK he's the chief economist for their national infrastructure assessment. And so they, again, incredibly transparent way, like they're mapping, they show the prices of these renewable energy sources coming down dramatically. So they even faster than they even thought. So again, and what is the impact of that? It's just being completely transparent. So and there's not a lot of trust in government, and sometimes these independent institutes like they built in the UK, sometimes they help for a short period of time. At the end of the day, the accountability has to always rest with members of parliament. So.
And it's funny, when you talk about carbon pricing and you say, oh, it's going to be revenue neutral at the federal level, the immediate answer from those who remain opposed is, I don't believe you.
Yeah.